All right. We've got bonus content.
After hours. I got to land the plane here.
Okay.
So Elon and people like Elon are going to have cars on the street listening to the conversations of the occupants. They're going to have an understanding of who's going where, when, how much economic energy is moving, what's being discussed. So they're going to see the impeller of our entire global economy, right? What people are thinking about. Google had the ability to watch people learn. We talked about that earlier and they react to it. Now Google doesn't have that opportunity as much because people are moving away from the search engine pages and they're going more to social media and they're going more to AI. So now the AI providers like Elon, he's able to see people on X.com talking about and digesting information. Then he's able to feed information from his Tesla network with the cars. And then he's able to soon have his network of Optimuses. And so essentially he's going to have, in my opinion, the best real-time understanding of what humanity's thinking about, what we're working toward, what we're building toward. And when you enter a period of hyper novelty, like I talked about earlier, when AI makes things more and more capable, understanding the impulse of people is going to become more and more valuable. What's the most valuable thing these days? Attention. And so where people's attention is going to go, like in hockey, you want to pass the puck to where the skater is going to be, not to where they are right now. Well, in order to know where their attention is going to go, you have to know where their impulses are going. And so now I believe AI is going to be one of the best impulse collection sensors so that we can feel where humanity is going to go. And what's the net result of that? Well, let's see, you're going to get services you want when you want them, right? The cost of producing them is going to go down, of course, because they're not going to waste economic energy trying to deliver services to people who don't want them. It's going to be just in time. You're going to have software materializing in front of you as you demand it into existence, and then changing its shape and form and function as you want to do something different. So these the experiences that we're about to enter truly are going to be hyper novel, and the people who will win the future are going to be the people who understand where your attention is going to go next. And so that's why I think Elon's really positioning himself very well, because he's got so many vectors for information capture. He's got X, he's got the robots, he's got the Tesla cars. He's clearly, if life is deterministic, and if you could know the position of every atom on the board and then what position they're moving to, then you use AI to simulate the future state and you could literally see into the future. I really think that that's where AI is eventually going to be taking us, the ability to basically map out everyone's current impulses and where their attentions are, and then figuring out where they're going to be in the future.
If Elon could start or acquire one additional company, what would it be and why?
I would take a cloud provider would be nice. I know it's a big bite, but like right now he pays for someone else to host a lot of those electrons. And so I don't know if he could swallow a Google or someone like that, but it'd be nice to take down Google's going to be under antitrust attack from the government. I think Google could get ripped apart in the not too distant future. So there might be an opportunistic way for him to get access to cloud compute. And also Google has these TPUs, these tensor processing units. Basically AI is matrix multiplication, and it's just doing math problems in parallel. And we used to use CPUs for that, and then we use graphical GPUs because graphics is a parallel technology. It's not serial like 1001. It's a grid of numbers. So Google took the GPU and then basically built a football field size thing called a TPU, and it's just a much better device at crunching the numbers and doing AI. So if Elon could gain access to Google, he could gain access to the TPUs, the IP around the TPUs. Google acquired DeepMind, so he would get the intellectual property of DeepMind. So I think Google should be on your list, Elon. And then, I think frankly he should get more in Bitcoin too. I think he should, because if he's going to create so much economic energy, and I know he is, then he's going to want to store that economic energy. And more importantly, if we agree that we all used to use apps, users used to use apps, but now it's going to be agent to agent, complete agentic layer where the agents are talking to each other. Wouldn't it make sense for Elon to have exposure to the Bitcoin ecosystem, because all that energy that he's efficiently distributing thanks to his intelligence and his technology, he's going to create value. That value is going to accrue into Bitcoin. Why wouldn't he want to be there first, capturing some of that heat that he's going to be generating from his economic activity? So yeah, I would buy Google and lots of Bitcoin, maybe some Bitcoin treasury companies and things of that nature, and get involved in the game that way.
What's your experience with social media? Where do you spend the most time? Is it like a short clip? Is it a 4-hour Lex Friedman deal? And what thoughts or advice would you give to people that are like thinking or that they want to do something in the space, or they're just trying to be thoughtful about differentiating themselves? Because just because you start something doesn't mean it's going to be successful. No. And just because if you get it to a certain level of success doesn't mean you're going to stay there.
Nope.
So like, how do you navigate with everything changing so fast, and then people are talking so fast, and then it's like, where's all this going?
Yes. I mean, I think X is great because it enables you to build lists and to iterate and to work through. So I have a set group of people that I consider like AI technologists, and then I've got another group of people that are roboticists, and then I've got another group of people quantum, and then I've got, of course, my Bitcoin crew. And so I have them in separate lists, and then I'll cycle through and engage with each of them and try to build a relationship. I mean, it's like real work. Like, it's not just going out there and posting a video and then you're done. You've got to do 20, 30 replies and engage with your audience. And especially when you're first building, you really need to reward them. This is kind of a dopamine distribution game, and you need to, like them back and kind of engage. And then also, a large audience is not the game. A large engaged audience is the game. A large audience could be store-bought. It could be anything, but an engaged audience is important. So when I'm on X, I'll look at how big their audience is, but I'll also look at, relatively speaking, how much engagement they're getting on their posts. And you'd be surprised like how many accounts have 150 to 300,000 followers, but like they've got posts with 4 likes, and you're like, so what's going on here? Like, these aren't real people. So I think you have to separate wheat from chaff, and then use the technology. Also, Grok is great for summarizing posts really quickly and understanding, is this something I want to bother reading more about? I still usually read the post as it is, but I'll have Grok kind of give me the rundown. And then if there's some there, then I'll drill in myself. So yeah, you just got to be intentional. Like I said, it's interesting. We started around a campfire. Kind of like this, right? And the oldest person was the storage can for our society's information, and then we earned the ability to write it out, and then paper, and we could move the paper. Next thing you know, we had movable press, movable type, printing press, and then we had the internet, and then the internet was amazing because the internet created a two-way stream where you couldn't just digest information. If you wanted to, you can write back to the person who wrote the paper and say, that was brilliant. Have you noticed that this doctor in Switzerland was writing something similar, but he had a different idea? You guys should meet. All of a sudden, the information starts to talk to each other. Now with AI, literally the information is talking to each other. Sometimes I will put 2 PDFs on reinforcement learning that just came out from like on the Hugging Face papers page. I'll upload them both to the same AI, and I will ask it for comparative descriptions and what's different. Where do these papers disagree? And sometimes there's enough there that I will then run down that rabbit hole. And sometimes I just learn. But either way, there's an incredible opportunity. So my point with that little tirade is that our information creation rate and our information transmission rate is directly correlated to what we achieve as a species. And AI has increased our information generation rate and our information distribution rate to such a great extent. But where it's really going to help us is with filtering, because unfortunately in a sea of AI generated slop, there's a lot of noise in there, and finding signal can be actually more difficult now in the generative AI world. But then again, here comes AI to the rescue, because you can program an AI and say, all right, the people I like, they have a healthy engagement ratio. They're probably on this list, or people who follow those people. So the social networks allow us to sort of prove who we are to each other, and we can decentralize. And so that's what I love about it. It's a really great conduit. I mean, this was absolutely impossible just even 100 years ago. And now you can just send a direct message to a Fortune 500 CEO and a Nobel Prize winning author in the same 5-minute span. And I did that yesterday. And who knows what we're going to be able to do tomorrow.
You said you watched the Fireside chat. What's your takeaway from what the guys at TrueNorth have done with really being part of the marketing engine of a publicly traded company, and where does all of that go? And what, in your opinion, is the priority of meeting people in person, going to events. I mean, there's more events and meetups all the time. So, I mean, you could just run around and travel all the time and like live out of hotel rooms. What's the balance, or what's the highest and best use of your time?
Even though I've just been spending all this time talking about the amazing powers of AI and digitalization and virtualization, IRL in real life just has such heavier gravity than digital touches. I think the right strategy is, of course, a mix where, you use a hub and spoke strategy, you build relationships with some good service providers in any industry you're looking to, because then they can vet for you. They know who the real people are. So I think service providers are a great way, to network and to expand in this world. But for me, I think that the right mix is probably 70-30 in real life versus digital. I think spending all of your time screaming into the void online, even if you're doing a good job collecting followers, you're not really developing deep relationships. And when it comes time to kick the tires on a business opportunity, or, look for some interesting things that you might be able to pursue, having an in real life connection gives you traction that the online stuff doesn't. So I would say definitely take advantage of the growing number of events. And by the way, Bitcoin is a global community. So you don't have to come to New York City to meet Bitcoin money. I mean, there's Bitcoin money in every state now. There's Bitcoin developers in every state. This ecosystem truly is global. And that's one of the things that I love about it. It's sovereign wealth. I mean, we're truly able to capture our own economic energy, shield it from the printers, and also, for once, the innovation that I just described, internet, printing press, et cetera, we finally had innovation in technology touch money. And what a benefit it has had for all of us, not just the ones who got into Bitcoin early or these other derivatives early, but for all of society. To your point, MSTR is, TrueNorth is essentially taking over in many regards the marketing duties, right, for MSTR and for proselytizing the whole Bitcoin, experience for everyone. And that's a great thing, because adoption is the secret weapon. I mean, that's what we need. We need more individuals understanding the problems that Bitcoin solves, the fiat problems, then the way Bitcoin solves the problems, double spend. We need to talk through these things. And then corporations. So thank goodness for Michael Saylor, because he really did push so hard, so fast, that I do believe he helped us get to a higher rate of speed on corporate adoption for sure. And corporate adoption is tricky because corporations are just make-believe things. I mean, it's really just lots of people working together towards solving a problem. So when you get corporate adoption, you're also getting individual adoption, because those individuals are turning around. You better believe they've got Bitcoin and cold cards and things of that nature. So you're getting two bites at the apple with the corporate strategy. And that's how I see it. I see the individual bucket, the corporate bucket, and then the sovereign bucket. And I think that, because the sovereigns have access to the money printers, it's definitely one place where we could gain a lot of value to BTC's price very quickly. But it's the corporations that I'm most excited about, because they're the ones that actually control economic engines, and they're the ones that are, again, those 30,000 people pretending, hey, let's all pretend that this company exists and go out tomorrow and kick butt and take names. Well, if we can get them Bitcoin pilled, orange pilled, then they might start converting those economic energies into Bitcoin and saving in Bitcoin, taking payment in Bitcoin. I mean, you could see how what TrueNorth are doing is an important part of keeping the blood pumping and the organism growing that is Bitcoin.
How do you view the retail investor versus the institutional investor? Saylor has said he'll walk in and talk to a 20-year-old, and the 20-year-old will say, talk to my dad, and the dad is the billionaire. Yes. Maybe more of like on the institutional side.
Sure.
Are they connected? Are they separate? Is the truth somewhere in the middle?
Yes, I think it's true that the younger generation are just going to more inherently, well, one, they've felt, I believe, the unfairness of the fiat side of the aisle, right? They are not like the 55 to 70-year-old who has absolutely benefited from the money printer. I mean, the baby boomers have had a pretty good gig here. And I know everyone picks on the baby boomers. They made the decisions that they made with what the information that they had. And who would willingly and voluntarily let your 401k become a 201k? If you have a way to socialize the losses and privatize the gains, if those rails exist, people are going to go down them. And so that's, what fiat has done. So yeah, the older generation benefited from fiat, and the younger generation understand its dangers. Meanwhile, the younger generation have seen the transformative power of technology, and the older generation, yeah, they've seen it, but from their perspective, it's just kind of noise. And by the way, if you look at the not to go into a side hole, but if you look at the productivity numbers for companies in America since the 1970s, I know I did. I've had this story in my head that computers changed everything and it was a hockey stick and productivity went up and to the right and we're getting so much more value per worker, but productivity's largely remained stagnant. Mm. And I don't have a neat, tidy answer for that. Like, because when anecdotally, when I go to the companies I invest in and I see people doing stuff, I'm like, wow, technology is literally making us a lot of money here. Like, it's saving us money. It's making us money. Like, how is this not translating to the productivity numbers? And I don't know if it's not some sort of hanky-panky with the inflation numbers where essentially they are transferring the economic energy away from the companies and the users by cranking up the money printer. And so they're inflating. And then that's where they're basically wealth draining from us by flooding the zone with too much money. Because again, I don't understand why the productivity numbers aren't feeding through to the companies unless there's some drain somewhere else in the system, and the money printer is the only sound that I can hear.
Anything else?
No, I think that was great. Yeah.
All right. This is it for the bonus
That's
content.
Game on.
All right. Matt, thanks.
Cheers. Thanks, Tim.